This is the Chapel of the Apparition in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a room that is about 1,000 years old. Why is it called the Chapel of the Apparition? It's because there's a belief among the Catholic Church in Jerusalem that shortly after his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his mother Mary very close to this spot. Now, this appearance of Jesus to his mother is not recorded in the Bible. It's a legend that is first mentioned in a 3rd century book called The Resurrection of Christ by Bartholomew the Apostle. We know from the Bible that after Jesus rose from the dead, he made several appearances to many different people, and there is really no reason to doubt that he also appeared to his mother, even though it's not recorded in Scripture. On the far side of this room is a bronze statue on the wall, showing all 14 stations of the cross. In the front of the chapel, on the left side, there is another sculpture showing Jesus appearing to his mother. And on the right side is a blood-red stone column made from a rock called porphyry. According to the Franciscans, this column is the one against which Jesus was whipped by the Roman soldiers just before he was crucified. Here's the story. Very shortly after the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD, the Christians in that city apparently went sifting through the rubble, searching for relics that were relevant to the life of Christ. It had only been 37 years since his death, and so it's likely that many Christians who remembered that day knew where to look. And that's probably when they found this column. They brought it to the upper room on Mount Zion, which later became known as the Church of the Apostles, and it remained there for up to 14 centuries. The first time in history that this column was written about was in 333 AD, when an anonymous pilgrim from Bordeaux, France, claims that he saw it in the upper room. 50 years later, the column was seen again in the upper room by the Spanish lady pilgrim Egeria. St. Jerome even wrote about this column, indicating that it was tall enough to hold up the roof in the upper room. We even have an ancient diagram which was drawn shortly after 670 AD, showing us that this scourging post was positioned in the very center of the upper room. Now, the upper room was controlled by the Franciscans up until 1524 AD. In that year, when the Ottoman Empire took control of this room, it was converted to an Islamic mosque, as you can see here. These Turkish Muslims then desecrated this tall column by breaking it apart. However, most of the pieces were salvaged by the man who at that time was in charge of the Catholic Church in the Holy Land, Father Boniface of Ragusa. 29 years after the column was broken, in the year 1553, Father Boniface brought this particular piece of the column to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and he put it inside the Chapel of the Apparition, which at that time looked like this. Since then, people from all over the world have been coming here to pray, to meditate, and to contemplate Christ's sufferings. And the red color of this stone is a grim reminder that Jesus' body was pressed up against it, and that fresh drops of his blood dribbled down its sides. This was the way that he was willing to die, so that he could purchase eternal salvation for every person in the world who becomes his disciple. And so, what is to be our response? Is there any life worth living other than one of perpetual gratitude for the price that he paid for us on that day?